Thanks, Heather. Patrick Basham with the Democracy Institute joins us now with a closer look at these developments. Patrick, welcome to Newswatch.
Thank you. Great to be with you.
Well, what's your take on Georgia as it relates to the voter fraud investigations there?
Sure. Well, I think there are serious reasons for concern for further investigation in Georgia. As in other states, there is a surprisingly low absentee ballot rejection rate. That doesn't make any sense, as the absentee ballots were higher. You'd expect the failure rate, the rejection rate to be high. You have precincts in Georgia where apparently more people voted than there are residents. All kinds of concerns. Ballots that were only filled in for the presidential level question, all for Joe Biden, all of them pristine absentee mail ballots that were never folded or apparently mailed. So lots of questions and lots of a lack of answers to this point.
Mr. Basham, how is all of this and possibly President Trump's legal challenges going to influence the runoff election for the Senate?
Well, it can influence it in one of two ways. Either there'll be a sense of mass resignation amongst Trump supporters who think the system is rigged against them, so why bother turning out in the runoff? Or, and I think this is more likely, a sense among Trump's voters in Georgia that this is their one shot, their one chance to send a message to the governor, the Secretary of State, the lieutenant governor, and to Washington that they are intent on their votes counting. Of course, they'll be very cynical because they, to this point, don't believe the way the election will run in January will be any different than it did on November 3rd.
Senator Rand Paul tweeted, quote, "The data dump anomalies in 4 key states. Are there legitimate concerns to what he's talking about?"
Oh, absolutely. Statistically, these are borderline impossible, both in terms of the margins for Joe Biden over Donald Trump, and also the volume of ballots that came in at the same time. And this happened, as it were, simultaneously across several states, and all of them critical swing states. When the counting is stopped and poll workers are told to go home for a few hours, and when they come back, they find out that these dumps occurred in their absence and the counting resumed. It doesn't on its own guarantee there was fraud and corruption, but it obviously raises huge flags, huge question marks about the validity of those ballots.
Almost 50% of Americans believe this presidential election, was rigged. Where do we stand as a nation with securing voter integrity?
Oh, I don't think we're standing anywhere. I think we're on our knees. This election was a nationalized version of what we've seen in recent elections in the likes of Philadelphia and Nevada and in California. And it's only coming to the fore. That's perhaps the one positive out of this fiasco. It's coming to the fore that there are serious problems in most parts of the country. And at the very least, we have to hope and pray that the next election and the election after that, we actually get our act together in terms of how we accumulate the ballots and how we count them.
Is there still a path to victory for President Trump at this point?
Yeah, there is. I mean, he has 3 paths. I mean, there's the legal constitutional path, which means he could end up winning in the Supreme Court. That is certainly possible, given the Republican-appointed majority on the court. It is possible that the swing state legislatures, which are mainly controlled by Republicans, get their spines working, and they decide to that they do conclude that too many of these elections are simply in doubt because of the potential for fraud, and they decide to seat their own slate of electors for Trump. And of course, the third option is that the legislatures simply don't act in time because the clock is ticking, and that actually favors Trump, which would mean in bottom line terms, it goes to the House of Representatives, it goes to Congress, and there the numbers favor Donald Trump. They don't guarantee a victory, but they favor him. So yes, he still has pragmatic reason to continue this fight.
All right. Well, it's going to be a very exciting December to watch for sure. Patrick Basham with the Democracy Institute, thank you so much for your insight. Take care.
Thank you. My pleasure.